Hi, I'm dating coach Hayley Quinn. If you're a guy who often struggles to know when is the right moment to start flirting with a woman, in this short video, I'm going to be giving you one simple principle for knowing when is the right time to start flirting with her. We all know that flirtation is an important thing to have in an interaction to clearly communicate what your intentions are. However, after coaching so many thousands of men and women for so long, I find this often causes a lot of stress to the guys out there. You might be feeling like it's something that you have to do, and if you don't do this part of the interaction right, that she's automatically just going to see you as a friend. Often this means that you may feel like you clumsily need to try pretty hard to insert some flirtation into the interaction, even if it feels slightly out of context. When the truth is, flirtation, it isn't like the whole meal, it's like the spice that you put on top. So often you may actually be thinking that flirtation, at least in the initial stages of getting to know a woman, is this bigger deal than it actually is. What's more important than, for instance, making the conversation really sexual or flirting heavily early on, is actually to show that you are socially aware of when she's ready to take that next step in the conversation. Because when flirtation comes out of context, it can end up feeling really awkward, and it will feel like you are not aware of emotionally where she's at in the conversation. That won't say good things about your emotional intelligence as a man. It's going to make her feel slightly uncomfortable. It's a bit like you being a plane that's flying at 30,000 feet and she's just still turning around on the runway. So if there feels like there's too much of a big gap between how you feel about one another, she will feel intimidated by that. She's going to feel the pressure and she will withdraw. So if you often find like you're trying to flirt, not perhaps feeling like it's quite as smooth as you want it to be, and you feel that often women kind of shy away and end up backing out, this could be the reason for it. It could be that the flirtation is just coming a little bit out of context. So how do you know when's the right time to start to flirt and to communicate differently? Well, of course, it all comes down to her giving you those signals of being ready and willing to go there in a conversation. Those signals are often actually related to something very important in all relationships, and that is trust. Now, I know trust doesn't sound that sexy, but we need to have a degree of trust in place before you do the flirtation thing in order to not make your flirtation really mismatched to how she's actually feeling. To give an extreme example of this, say you ask a woman out on the first message you send her on a dating app, it's actually highly unlikely to be successful. Likewise, if you walk up to a woman and you're like, wow, you're so gorgeous, I just had to come over and get your phone number. Maybe in a small number of cases, because she's so shocked and maybe a bit flattered, she'll give you her phone number, but the chances of that turning into a date are again really, really small. So we can't put the cart before the horse. In fact, trust, or a degree of trust, needs to be established before we can then move in to the phase where you can flirt more easily with her. So how do you establish some trust? Well, a simple way to think about doing this is to realize that in all conversations, there's a kind of law of reciprocation. That means if you share relatively openly with her, that means she'll also feel comfortable to share a little bit back with you as well. And the kind of touch point that we want to get to in the conversation, which says that she may be open to taking it up a notch, is where she's actually contributing freely to the conversation, where she's really opening up, she's really comfortable talking to you. When she's comfortable talking with you, this also gives you another really great opportunity, because unless she's really being open and investing in the conversation, and by investing, I mean being open, being communicative, making an effort, trying to show you how cool she is as well. If she's not doing any of those things, then any flirtation might feel a bit alien here. Instead, if she feels that your desire is actually ramping up in a way that is correlated to how much she's investing in the interaction, she's going to instead get this really nice feeling that you're choosing her, that because of what she's demonstrating to you about herself, you're becoming more and more attracted to her. Now, this should also be the truth. So right now, if you're thinking, hot woman, how do I flirt? Instead, you've got to be like, hot women, there's lots of hot women in the world. That's my opportunity. That's my reason to say hello to her. But I really need to see if she's got some of the qualities I like before I'd want to invest more of my limited time and energy in getting to know her. This is all the building blocks of starting to interact with women differently and like a really high value man who's got abundance, who's got that confidence, and who's got that self-esteem. I hope this video has given you a really solid principle for when you can start to ramp up the flirtation in the conversation. Remember, actually, sometimes flirtation is more subtle, is more elegant. It doesn't need to be overdone. You don't need to try too hard. If you've approached her, if you suggested hanging out again, you're like 9/10 of the way there. So don't make it out to be a bigger thing than it is. Instead, prioritize matching and mirroring emotionally where she's at, and also cultivating high enough standards for yourself in the women you choose to invest that time and energy into. If you want more advice on how you can develop this high confidence male mindset, you can head over to hayleyquinn.com/unite, and there's a free video series there for you.